No, I swear, it was the backwards record that convinced me to buy it. Here's a look at the brand new Synapse film, the Trick or Treat 1986 4K release. Well, I guess it hasn't yet been released. All I really done was cut the tape on the top of the box, and I thought to myself, oh, wait a minute, what are you doing here? I could actually do a video of this, promoting the idea that the classic 80s film of Trick or Treat is now being released in 4K format from the folks over at Synapse Films. You loved the original Trick or Treat from 1986, starring, of course, the rock killer Sammy Kerr. Well, Synapse Film finally did do a 4K release of it. Although, unfortunately, the day that they dropped the title, their site had crashed. I was actually going back and forth on their site. Looking at it in the morning, it was down. Then in the afternoon, it was up for like 5 minutes. And when I was trying to check out, then the site went down again. It so happened, though, I just happened to be at a stoplight. I looked on the site. I know the car had stopped. And then when I realized the site was going, I quickly pulled into a parking lot and I placed my order there. Safe driving all the time by this guy here. Anyways, though, I have finally gotten the box in the mail. And I'm going to open this up the same way that you guys are going to be able to have the chance to experience this for yourself. At one point, though, the only way that I was really watching the original Trick or Treat film was through the Ragman German release, which worked fine. I mean, other than just the fact it was all in German language, at least the menu was. The movie for itself played fine. You can see even on the back of this as well, like it's all in German writing, but not that necessarily affects the film at all. A classic film starring not only Gene Simmons, Ozzy Osbourne, and Mark Price, who played Skippy in Family Ties. Yeah, this for a while was my go-to. I don't think it actually had reverse. Did it have reverse cover art? Maybe it did. I'm looking at it. No, it's still German. It didn't matter whether it was German, whether you flipped it around or not. Anyways, this was the go-to that I was using for a while watching Ragman. Ragman is sort of, for me, like one of those horror movies that I don't consider is as classic as maybe the ones that people remember, like, of course, your Halloweens, your Trick or Treat, starring, of course, Sam. But it's always more of a beloved classic for me. It's very much like Christmas Evil. It's always the movie I sort of start the holiday watching. For Halloween, it's always Ragman or Trick or Treat. And then for Christmas, it's always generally Christmas Evil before it's Silent Night, Deadly Night, and all those other horror titles. Anyways, this was pretty much my go-to for a while until finally Synapse had dropped the announcement that they were going to be releasing a 4K format of the classic Trick or Treat movie. Now, there were 3 ways of getting this movie, or 3 different covers. I initially chose this cover, and then I went for a while kind of thinking to myself, did I regret maybe picking this cover over one that I also liked as well? Of course, I was so quick to go on the site. I'm like, okay, I got to check this out quickly just to make sure that I wasn't going to lose out the chance to get this. So I ended up going, I believe, with cover A. I'm just going to pull this out from the bubble wrap so you guys can see. Sammy Kerr is on a rock and roll nightmare, Trick or Treat. So this was cover A, there was cover B, and the cover C. I'm sure you guys could easily look this up online to see what those other alternate covers were. This was very expensive too. Just going from a Canadian collector and telling you guys, it was I think it was like $66 over on their site. And then when they added, of course, the shipping on top of it, it was $26. I think when it was all in, it was $92.66. Now you're thinking already, hey, $93, that's pretty steep, a humble collector. And it is, until you realize that's US dollars. I think when I was all in, finally, it was probably well into $130 before I finally paid this thing off. So $130 for a 4K release of Trick or Treat, a little on the more steeper side, but again, I'm glad I finally got this. This is a limited cover, a limited release. I'm going to very carefully grab my knife here, McCutcheon's, and I want to just carefully cut the plastic here because the last thing I really want to do is damage the case. Now, if you guys have been lucky enough to grab this, also let me know down below in the comments section which cover you went with. It was either, again, a toss-up between this one and I think, was it cover C? I hope they kind of have the other alternate artwork in here as well. Of course, you got your J card here on the back. The only thing about J cards, though, is that they always tell you exactly everything you would need to know about what's inside the movie. But then there's, it's always something you have to slide off. Now, some people choose to have their J cards displayed with their movies. Just because I end up putting it on the shelf like this, half the time I usually just dispose of the J cards altogether. Of the things, of course, available on the back here. What are you afraid of? It's only rock and roll. Rock and roll will never die. In this 1980 cult film that stars Mark Price of Family Ties, I think he was also in... Was he also in Attack of the Killer Tomatoes? Maybe he wasn't. As Eddie Weinberg, a teenage outcast who idolizes Sammy Kerr, played by Tony Fields. a heavy metal superstar. After Sammy dies in a violent death, his spirit returns to help Eddie get even with his high school tormentors. In doing so, Sammy begins to gain control over Eddie's life and brings him deeper into the world of the occult. When Eddie realizes that he's become the tool of Sammy's vengeance, he attempts to stop him, and the horrifying events that follow leave no one unscathed. Featuring special appearances by Gene Simmons and Ozzy Osbourne, Trick or Treat marked the directorial debut of veteran actor Charles Martin Smythe, who is in Never Cry Wolf and Starman, and features a legendary soundtrack by Fastway. Red Shirt Home Video and Synapse Films are proud to present this heavy metal horror classic in an all-new 4K restoration, presented in Dolby Vision HDR10 compatible and loaded with hours of supplemental material, including multiple commentary tracks and feature-length video retrospective. This 3-disc set contains a 4K 2160p UHD Blu-ray, a standard Blu-ray, and a CD soundtrack album, and is limited to 6,666 copies. Well done. No fake metal. Headbanging special features include an exclusive limited edition clipboard slipcase featuring 3 variant artworks by Justin Osborne, Devin Whitehead, and Sean Longmore. A 4K restoration of the original 35mm camera negative mastered in Dolby Vision HDR10 compatible and approved with director of photography Robert Elswit. Lossless English DTS HD master audio of the original 2.0 theatrical mix and an all-new 5.1 surround sound mix. Audio commentary with director Charles Martin Smith, moderated by filmmaker Mark Savage. Audio interviews with writer-producer Michael S. Murphy, writer Rhett Thompson, and moderated. Oh, I actually read that part already. Pop culture. There's so much going on here. Pop culture paranoia in the 1980s. Rock and Shock: The Making of Trick or Treat, an all-new retrospective feature. Director Charles Martin Smith, actor Mark Price, Glenn Morgan, Elise Richards, and Larry Sprinkle. Writer-producer Joel Sizozan, the costume designer Jill O'Fanson, assistant set costume Francine DeCourcy, construction Torman Tom Jones Jr., special makeup effects by Everett Burrell, music executive producer Stephen E. Smith, composer, there's a lot going on here, Christopher Young, and special appearance by Gene Simmons. I'm glad that something is in there by Gene Simmons. In the spotlight, a tribute to Tony Fields, including the interviews with the late actor's family and friends. Tony Horror's Hallowed Grounds, the filming locations of Trick or Treat, which is one thing I'm really looking forward to watching. After Midnight, the music video, theatrical trailers, TV spots, radio spots, still gallery. You guys still here? I hope so. Still gallery featuring optional audio interview with still photographer Philip V. Curso. Vintage electronic press kit, illustrated collector's booklet with essays by Michael Geinold, Sam Dane, and Michael Felsher. Fold-out double-sided Sammy Kerr fan poster, which I'm already kind of considering getting a poster frame for, and 6 double-sided collector's card set. Wow. I'm exhausted just reading that. It's rated R, 1986, color 97 minutes. So, of course, there's your J card. We'll just put that off to the side. I'm sure after all that, let's actually look at... So first thing I do want to comment, though, is the way they've designed the box here. The box is a very hard cardboard, as you guys can probably see here as well, Trick or Treat. Not only, though, is there 3 alternate covers, but each one of the covers had a different font. Again, I chose this one here, where you've got Sammy Kerr holding on to, of course, the main character here. His fans won't let him die. He won't let them live. The only thing I will, though, say about this is, while I'm glad now I did pick up cover art A. The thing about it, though, is I would say it's not super clear. It's a little more on the faded side. I wish the actual image here on the front was a little bit more sharper. But still, again, really nice looking artwork here. On the back, what are you so afraid of? It's only rock and roll. Of course, we're going to open up here as well. Just put the slip there. Now, we've got the poster here for Sammy Kerr. This is the original poster that Ragman, or Eddie, has in the movie. He has this, I believe, is it just above his bed? Just going to open up right here. So we got Sammy Kerr down below, the signature of Sammy Kerr. And then on the back side of that, we would have what would be like the original promotional artwork for Ragman. And it just so happens to be, like, we just grab the original German case that I have here. You can see it's the exact same artwork. This artwork made a lot of rounds. There was also as well a DVD release that had Ozzy Osbourne and Gene Simmons on the front. And for a while, like seeing that online, I thought to myself, well, I really don't have any interest to watch a rock and roll horror film called Trick or Treat that's just got Gene Simmons and Ozzy Osbourne on the front. It was really a bad cover. But I am looking forward to maybe putting the Sammy Kerr poster up. I'm going to put that down in my, what will be eventually my horror room. Right now, it's sort of just like odds and ends and stuff, and I don't have it properly organized. Then we've got ourselves Trick or Treat. Now, this is a booklet, and it's quite a substantial one. It's got the cast and crew inside. Behind the scenes, a year of tricks and treats. I'm not going to read all of this, obviously, but I just want to show you guys some artwork there. There's Ozzy Osbourne, playing, of course, the holy man that's on screen, talking about the problems, the evils of rock and roll, which would be fitting, of course, for Ozzy Osbourne to be saying all that. Sammy Kerr. You'll just flip through this quickly. Some side artwork there of Sammy Kerr. There's Eddie. Yeah, if you have not had a chance to watch the original Trick or Treat film, now I know, again, there's several Trick or Treats. There's Trick or Treat 1986. Of course, this is the 4K release. There's Trick or Treats, which I believe actually predated Trick or Treat. And then, of course, there's Trick or Treats. So it was confusing to tell people, like, I'm going to watch Trick or Treat. Oh, the one with Sam? No, not the one with Sam. This was the original release for DVD. So you can kind of get an idea, like, looking at this. Who would be looking at this and saying, oh, I don't know, I'm kind of interested in watching Trick or Treat starring Gene Simmons and Ozzy Osbourne. It's not even really the right... I mean, Gene Simmons and Ozzy don't even look like this at all in the movie. Gene Simmons has a beard and he's a radio disc jockey. And Ozzy Osbourne is an evangelist, so he looks nothing at all like this. One of the other posters as well for promoting Trick or Treat. I think one of the overseas release of Trick or Treat may have had, in fact, that poster. And let's just see here. The miscasting is part of the fun. DEG's latest film is Unexpected Treats. Newspaper articles, of course. DEG offers rock and roll film for Halloween. The guy on stage looks like Skippy, but isn't. 25 years ago, Trick or Treat filmed. A lot of good stuff in here. There's what Gene Simmons obviously looked like. He was the disc jockey that offered up Sammy Kerr's last album over to Eddie. And that's, of course, where all the problems started. A lot of good stuff. I'm going to sit down and read that. And, of course, we got ourselves the main case. Now, the main case does have the original artwork. So, again, just very much similar like the one I already had. And I believe this also does have a flip-out cover. So, if you don't like the flip-out cover, or at least if you don't like the insert cover that we have. So, there's this one, right? Or there's this one here as well. I might just choose to have this just because there's so much more going on here. Trick or Treat's a completely different font. Death, Resurrection, Destruction, the Ultimate Comeback. In fact, I'm going to just take out the other things that are also inside this case too. Seeing as we're here anyways, I'm just going to flip this around and put it back in the case just because this is the way I'm going to present Trick or Treats. Love that cover. Okay. So outside of course the cases, outside of the movies, you have your Ultra HD. You have your regular Blu-ray. So for those that were looking at this thinking, I don't have a 4K player, it does also have a Blu-ray. And if the one thing it's also got that I'm looking forward to giving this a try is the soundtrack CD. Now, there were a couple of people, Take Scare Media, who also did an unboxing of this. A shout out to Take Scare Media. Also had bought the album. I really want to get my hands on the album as well. I just love the soundtrack and all the songs that are in Trick or Treat. So even though this is the CD, I'm going to be playing that in my car. That's usually where I listen to a lot of my CDs as of late while I'm driving to work. I'm going to see if I can get my hands on the album as well. Outside of the case, a good hefty case, we've also got ourselves some Synapse films, a product catalog for 2025. Most of these I think I've actually picked up. Yeah, Tenebrae, I've just recently got that one. I think this one down below here. Phenomena, I should say. Yeah, I'm going to have to be careful. Be careful. Some of the covers inside, probably not the best for showing younger viewers. And then we've got ourselves little postcards. Now, I always really called these lobby cards. Lobby cards would be something that a lot of times they would release literally in lobbies. You would just be picking these up at movie theaters. Sometimes if you would see stage shows as well, they'd give you lobby cards. Why am I having such a hard time getting this opened up here? There we go. Okay. So I want to show you guys the lobby cards as well that comes included with this. So again, what are you afraid of? It's only rock and roll. The front has one image, and then the back of it has the different posters. So there's this one here. I know we've kind of already looked at this a couple of times. There's Gene Simmons. And we'll flip that around. So that's the poster that, well, yeah, that's the case insert that I've now flipped around. So we've got this one. And this is good too, because there's an image of Sammy Kerr, kind of near more the end of the movie. And there's this one, which I don't think made many rounds. I mean, North America didn't get much in the way of the Trick or Treat movie anyways. VHS releases, a few, I think, of course, 1 or 2 DVDs. I believe this may have been, in fact, a European image that they used, or one of the first posters, which we also get an image as well of the demon, which really isn't advertised at all on the poster. Then we got Ozzy Osbourne as the evangelist on TV. Flip that around. Is that perhaps the German? Italian? I want to say that that's like the Italian poster. And the whole idea, of course, with Trick or Treat is it's the album, Sammy Kerr's last album, when it spins backwards, it actually talks to Eddie. That's pretty cool. There's Eddie as well. Flip around on the back. I would guess to say Japanese. I could be very well wrong. Let me know down below. And then we've got also Sammy Kerr as well, trapped behind a cage. And that's one of the alternate artworks as well. The only thing it doesn't have is the alternate 2 cover arts. So, of course, if you guys did want to see what that cover art looked like, would obviously encourage you guys to check online. But in the end, I think I'm kind of glad I did end up getting this one. It was one of those cases where I was really worried it was going to be selling out. Just for the fact that Synapse had it, and then their site was kind of dropping off for a while. It was on for about like 5 minutes. It was literally just a window of time that you had to just keep refreshing and checking their site. And luckily, I was off that day. So I was like refreshing it. I was looking at it. I'm like, oh, site's still down. I checked it again later. Site was up for 5 minutes. I went to go to the checkout and then it was gone again. I finally, though, got my chance to get it. Now, there were a couple of other boutique labels that did also have Trick or Treat. And unfortunately, which also added to my anxiety of this, had sold out of them because I guess a lot of collectors were just looking to Synapse and like, well, we can't get it this way. We're going to go instead to the other boutique labels. And for no surprise, they obviously are the ones that sold out of those. So eventually I did get Synapse. I ordered from Synapse. A little more, again, on the pricier side, the fact that this was a $66 movie. And of course, I had the shipping on top of that. That was already $93. I think it was probably about $130 when it was all in. But I am finally glad to have a physical, an actual physical copy of Ragman or Trick or Treat, just because, again, like the one that I had for a while still worked fine. I mean, like it wasn't, other than really just having to be able to skip around German titles on the main menu, it played fine and it was a good quality. Now, again, I haven't had the chance to watch Trick or Treat, though I usually have the rule that when it gets past like that holiday, I don't then watch those horror movies until like the following year. I might, though, have to make the exception when it comes to Trick or Treat because I'm just such a big fan of Trick or Treat, kind of, again, the same way as Christmas Evil. Even though, again, like, it's not the true Halloween. I want to say it's Halloween classic. I know it's one that probably not as many people think of as a Halloween classic, but it's usually the one I always start the Hallows season watching with. Trick or Treat and then Christmas Evil. Christmas Evil is always the one I usually watch when it comes to Christmas movies, so of course you guys probably already know what I will be watching at the beginning of December. But let me know down below in the comments section, guys, if you've had the chance to order yourself Trick or Treat, the 1986 film starring rock killer Sammy Kerr. And if you did, also let me know down below which cover you guys ended up going with. Cover A, which I believe is this one here, and then again, there was cover B and cover C. If you guys did enjoy this video, this unboxing video, do it a solid, throw it a like. You guys want to stick around for more so? I hope so. Hit that subscribe, turn on that bell, and of course, the biggest thing is that you're coming back. As always, thanks for watching. See you guys next time.